Yo, what is going on? How is everyone doing? I hope you're doing well today. I'm doing pretty well. Hope you guys noticed the brand new fucking intro. And if you didn't, go back, run it back, and listen to that brand new intro because we got a new theme song, a new intro, obviously. If you're watching the video version of this, you saw that already. But I wanted to welcome you guys to the brand new Risen Fallen podcast. And you might be sitting there scratching your head wondering, what is Risen Fallen? What does Risen Fallen mean? Hey, Mark, which is the old title of this podcast. But you might be thinking, hey, Mark, what's Risen Fallen mean? And let me explain to you what Risen Fallen means, the direction of this podcast, the direction I'm going with the whole Risen Fallen movement, what it's all about, and what you can expect moving forward. So, Risen Fallen. It is a name that I came up with a couple years back. I started to try and do like a clothing company. We were going to donate a bunch of proceeds to mental health awareness, different kind of companies that were impacting the community. And I ended up losing all my money. So I ended up kind of dropping the whole concept, the whole idea. From there, I started a podcast. And I just kind of thought, why don't I try my very best to start to impact the community the best that I can, the best that the best way that I can, which is basically, in my eyes, it was at the time starting the conversation, kind of being able to create a new community for people that kind of felt like they were all alone, the kind of people that felt like they were just kind of going through life by themselves and didn't really have any direction, didn't really have any connection or anything like that. And so I started this podcast, obviously, and I wanted to kind of start to voice my opinions, voice the kind of things that I was going through, kind of how I overcame some of the struggles that I went through, and then also interview other people so that they could do the exact same. And I want to obviously grow the show and try and impact the community even more. And so I started a WhatsApp group, and now it's migrated over to Telegram, where we have daily conversations as well. We have weekly Zoom calls. We get to kind of be able to connect with one another and be able to kind of chat with each other about, like I said, it's kind of an opportunity for people to kind of be both mentors as well as mentees in a way as well. Like we kind of all always, in this weird cyclical, cycle of being in the position of needing a little bit of help or, feeling a little bit better than being able to help other people as well. And so that's kind of a cool version of this group, which the group is also called Risen Fallen Group, obviously. It's actually just called Risen Fallen. And also, you'll notice as well that my Instagram is renamed Risen Fallen as well. So I'm just basically rebranding everything connected to me as Risen Fallen. And so you might be asking yourself, what does Risen Fallen mean? What does that mean? Other than sounding super fucking cool, it, in my eyes, symbolizes the fact that we all fall down, but together we rise back up, right? So we are all the Risen Fallen, right? And I used, and I'm sure you guys noticed, the owl logo. The original one was kind of like this little thing that I played around with on Photoshop. The new one is definitely way more fucking dope. Shout out to my girlfriend for making that. She's right over there. You can yell, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you guys heard that through the mic here, but shout out to Teddy. She made that logo. It's fucking dope. The reason I chose owls is because they are my favorite fucking animal. I'm sure you guys have seen. I have one inked on my shoulder. They've always interested me. They're super fucking dope. But the reason that I love them so much is that, basically these are animals that have adapted to basically navigating through the darkest parts of the night, the darkest parts of the of life, right? Like they are birds that have kind of adapted all of their senses to being able to navigate when it is the darkest. And I feel like that's a lot of people as well that deal with mental illness is because they've had to adapt to living their lives in this darkness and being able to become these silent killers. And so that's kind of what we all represent as well. There's a lot of other symbolism that you'll see. Once the website comes out, there's going to be some, obviously the RSS feed for this podcast will be up on there. There's going to be probably some blog posts here and there as well that I might write out for you guys. And then a lot of, there's going to be like a little description of everything as well. Probably going to drop some merch pretty quick here, pretty soon, hopefully. And that kind of brings me to the concept of what I wanted to chat about today in this episode, which is kind of just taking a risk, taking a leap of faith, and, basically just kind of rolling the dice with your life and understanding that. Actually, you know what? I think it's best if I start off with this little quote, because there was this little quote that I searched up earlier today and I wanted to share it with you guys and see how you guys like it. This quote is from, obviously, Dr. Jordan Peterson, somebody that I read a lot of his books. I listen to a lot of his videos, his podcasts as well. So if you don't know Dr. Jordan Peterson, I don't know where the fuck you've been the last few years, but his quote basically says, "You don't get to choose to pay a price. You only get to choose which price you pay." And so for a long time, I've been kind of very, conservative in the sense of, not really wanting to take a risk, not really wanting to, it was really difficult for me to kind of start to be my own authentic self in this podcast. And so for me, I've really been thinking about the price that we pay and how that relates to my life, in that, I thought I'd just take the risk, take the gamble, and start to try and shape this community a little bit more. And it might push some certain people away, but in my hope is that by doing so, I start to pull in the right people as well. And so that's kind of one of the things that's been on my mind a lot more recently. As much as I love to grow the audience, I also want to grow the community that it's benefiting. I want to be able to help the people that maybe don't have a voice or feel like they're alone, or, like I said, don't really have that connection. I want to make sure that they're heard, and I want to make sure that they kind of feel like, no matter, like I've said so many times before, no matter what it is that you're going through, that you're not alone, and life can and will get better for you. And so I talk a lot about, you know, going through hard times and how those shape you into the person that you're going to become. I talk a lot about kind of just doing your best to stay the course and trusting the process. And so, as much as I preach that for you as well, I'd like to practice it myself. And so I thought I would just kind of give you guys the introduction into this brand new rebranding as Risen Fallen. Obviously, I'm still your host, right? So you can still yell, "Hey, Mark," at me if you'd like. But for the most part, I just kind of want to introduce that to you guys as well. And then in terms of what you can expect in the future in terms of content, obviously, we're still going to be pumping out podcast episodes like this, something that's quick. Like the solo episodes will obviously be not like the fucking 2 hours or an hour and a half kind of conversations that you might hear on interviews. The solo episodes are going to be a little bit shorter, like how I've always done them. They're going to be, these either thoughts that I'm trying to mull over myself, or kind of lessons that I've learned recently, or just kind of tell you guys about some of the projects that we have coming up. And so you can expect that the solo episodes will probably be around like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes tops. And then obviously I'm still going to be pumping out interviews as much as possible. I know I've got some pretty fire fucking interviews coming out real quick here for you guys as well. But before we start dropping a lot more interviews, I wanted to, just give you guys this little update in my life as well. So stay tuned for some sick ass interviews. Stay tuned for some wicked content in terms of, hopefully the solo stuff as well. And also stay tuned for some merch that might be dropping pretty soon, because I'm going to do my best to bring you guys not only like good quality shirts, hoodies, stuff like that, but also I want to try and design them in a way, and I say me, but it's going to be Teddy designing them as well. Actually, she's going to be doing 99.9% of that as well. The same thing with the logo. I'm pretty much just coming up with maybe like cool picture ideas or cool sayings. But the idea with the merch is I kind of want to create a community. I want to be able to create shirts or any articles of clothing that people can kind of fuck with or connect with. And even if they haven't heard the podcast or know what it is, just kind of read the slogans and be able to see other people that might be wearing the shirts and think, man, I really vibe with that. I really connect with that saying, or this movement, this message really vibes with where I feel like I'm at in my life, and just kind of create that connection through, being able to have like that visual representation of the brand, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But yeah, I think that when you guys see the merch, it'll make a little bit more sense. I I think that's pretty much it. Before I go here, I've been doing a lot more reading recently. I've been trying my best to. I've been really trying to shape my future a little bit more because, I've gone through different ideas of, if I want to stay in Vancouver here, if I want to move away, if I want to, you know, change careers or, there's been a lot of turmoil in life recently over the last couple of years. And for me, I just really wanted to double down on what I actually think my purpose in this world is. And so I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that kind of feel similarly. Like you've maybe felt like over the last couple of years, maybe your line of work has been compromised. Maybe the career that you're in, you feel like it's not really the one for you, whatever that feeling could be for you. And, if you feel similarly, I urge you to just kind of reflect back on what your actual purpose is, like the why behind the what and what you're doing. I find that a lot of us, we get, locked up in these, as one of my friends likes to call it, the golden handcuffs, because we have a paycheck that's coming in consistently, or we have, maybe benefits that kind of keep us where we are, or a stability, whatever it could be. And I know that for myself, I've always been miserable when I have all of those things because I always think about, what if I did this or what if I did that? What if I just quit my job and started to do this thing? And it always comes down to asking myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know that a lot of the times it's been really difficult to find an answer to that. But I know one thing is for sure that, having this podcast and, being able to kind of connect with the people that I've connected through this podcast has really brought a purpose to my life. Being able to show people that, even if it is just one person that messages me here and there that says, hey, I really fuck with what you said, or what you said really helped me out to make this realization in my life, or it just helped me understand that, I'm not alone in what I'm going through. That's what makes it worth it for me. And having that sense of purpose has really been kind of the driving force that kind of keeps me pushing through the dark times. Even, because even in the last couple of years, I've had some pretty dark times as well. Sometimes I thought that, I wouldn't have to face again. A lot of the times we feel like, hey, maybe I'm better now. Maybe I'm never going to deal with this struggle again until it hits us even harder. And then you think to yourself, fuck, I thought I was better. Until you realize that this journey of, going through mental illness or this self-development journey, whatever you want to call it for yourself, it is something that never ends. Sometimes it might get better, sometimes it might get worse, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a process that never ends for us. That's exactly what life is. It has its ups and downs, and that sounds super cliche to say, but at the end of the day, it's just about kind of pushing through those tough times and being able to push through, not by just like kind of grin and bearing it, but being able to pull or extract the meaning behind the struggle that you have. What lesson is life trying to teach you? Whether you think that is, God or the universe, whatever it could be, what lesson that struggle is trying to teach you, if that makes sense. So I know I went on kind of like a random thought process there. Again, that is another thing you can expect when listening to these solo episodes, because I'm just kind of going through my own thought process. Other than that, what else is new? Oh, it was also my birthday this week. Just joined the 27 club. Knock on wood for that. But I think that's pretty much it. So, like I said, if you want to join, or maybe I didn't say this yet, but if you want to join the group that I've been talking about, this mental health group that we have on Telegram, with the Zoom calls on Sunday mornings, just shoot me a message on the Risen Fallen Instagram page right here, and I'll throw you into that group so you can connect with us. You can join the community as well. You can get some cool updates on the merch. You'll probably be the first group to get updates on the merch. And probably get discounts on the merch. And I think that's pretty much it. Follow the Instagram. If you listen to that podcast version of this, rate it 5 stars. Leave a little review if you're watching this or listen to this, on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching the YouTube version of this, like, comment, and subscribe. But I wanted to leave you all with a little quote from my first ever Stoic philosopher that I ever listened to or read his book. well, not his book, but a book written about him called Epictetus. And he says, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control and some things are not. And so I'm doing my very best to kind of, understand that you don't control the world, you just control how you react to it. And one of the things that is within our control is to, kind of apply our energy, our thoughts, and our efforts into what we want to grow. Because I think the thing that, what you think about the most, what you put the most amount of effort in or energy in will grow, whether that is your anxiety or whether that is, something that's going to relieve some anxiety from you. You see that a lot with, people that play sports or train in martial arts. They're putting a lot of effort into one thing, and then that's how they develop through, a belt system or turn pro. And so for myself, that's something that I'm trying to focus a lot more on right now is, one thing that is within my control is, not thinking, hey, how can I get this podcast to fucking grow? How can I get my audience to grow? But it's just, how can I get this podcast to serve the people that I'm looking to serve better? And, that's what I'm trying to do best. So in that kind of, I guess, in regards to that, if you guys have any suggestions, if you guys have any ideas on how I can make this podcast better, if you guys are in that group already, or if you have ideas on how that group can improve, I'm all ears. Please throw that in the comment section, throw that in the reviews if you want to throw that in the reviews. But let me know how I can improve and how I can serve you guys a little bit better, because at the end of the day, this podcast is not for me. It's for the people out there that kind of need to hear the message that no matter what it is you're going through, you're not alone. And if there's a way that I can do that better, I want to hear it, because in my eyes, that is the purpose that I serve. That's the reason I'm on this earth. So, yeah, if you want to do me a favor and let me know, that would fucking mean the world to me. Other than that, I will check you guys next episode. I hope you're doing well. Reach out to me if you're not. I'm obviously fucking all ears if you need to talk. Just remember, we all fall down, but together we will rise. That's all I got. Much love. Peace out, motherfuckers. I love you all.